All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hold on. Okay. All right. So my name is Officer 50 Darash from the I.S.U.P.K, part of I.S.U.P.K Canada. Started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Tonight is the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. All right. So we're gonna be going over tonight. We're gonna be going over the we're gonna start with the basics, which is the alphabet. So we're gonna be doing the Lashawan Qadash from the alphabet, and the way it writes is not left to right like in the English. It's from right to left. So the alphabet would be written out that way, and when the words are being written out, it's the same situation. Hold on, this camera keeps focusing on. Okay. So we're gonna go over the basics. We're gonna get the basic, the letters in the alphabet, so we can understand. All right. So we're gonna start from the A, or the Alaf. In the Hebrew, it would be Alaf. Actually, one moment. Let me grab my notebook. Hebrew notebook. All right. It would be the Alap. All right, not Alaf. Alap would be A. So we're gonna go ahead and write that out. So just for understanding's sake, I'm gonna write the English on top. This is all right. I.S.U.P.K Canada is brand new to Lashawan Qadash. It's just being started. So all right. So we're gonna put an A, so we understand that this represents the A sound. I'm also gonna write that out as well. So we're gonna do. Not only are we gonna do the Lashawan Qadash, which is the ancient, or as some people call the Paleo, we're gonna be doing the Assyrian Hebrew, and we're gonna explain why that's important to understand a little bit later on. Okay, so A. I'm gonna write the sound it makes, which is A. All right. Even though the letter is pronounced Alap, it makes the A sound. For example, B is pronounced B-E-E in English, but it's not always the sound it makes. It makes the B sound, right? And then depending on the letters that come after, then you would, associate it accordingly. So there's the English, the sound it makes. And then we're going to do the ancient. Here's the ancient symbol for the Alap. All right, that's the ancient symbol. You guys can see. Ancient symbol for Alap in Paleo. And then underneath, we're going to do the Assyrian. All right. So that's it right there. That's A. And we're going to go through the whole alphabet. So that's A. All right, we're gonna go all the way. Eventually, you guys are gonna know the Hebrew alphabet same way as you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right, same way you do it like that, and you remember everything. Soon we're gonna know the alphabet completely in order without even looking. Joseph, you come grab this stuff for me. All right. So we're gonna remember it in order without even looking, like A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, and so on. All right. So the next letter, just for now on the top in English, you're not gonna see A, B, C, D, because that's not how it works. The only reason it's working out that way is just coincidentally, A would be A, Ba, but then after Ba is G. It's not C, so don't get it confused. Joseph, sit. B. All right. B makes the ba sound. Okay, same thing. First two English kind of lines up with the Lashawan Qadash. So ba, and it's the full letter, the full pronunciation of the letter is bayat. It's bayat, and that means house. All right. The first letter means cow. All right, cow, and then the next one would be house. Bayat. All right, like if you're saying school, that's Bayat Saparium, house of books. You know what I'm saying? That's what that would mean. Saparium is books, Bayat is house, and that's how you would say school. So Ba or Bayat, and that means house. All right, now we're gonna write it in the Lashawan Qadash, and then the Assyrian. All right. So that's what it looks like. Hold on. Marley. All right, so that's it there. Can you see that? Ba. So ba. All right. Pretty simple so far. Ba. All right. Ba. Remember that it's gonna be easy to remember because you're gonna be like sounding it out. It's gonna be like same way we learn the ABCs, A B C D E, and you kind of turn it into a little rhythm. It's gonna be the same situation for this. All right. It's gonna get a hang of it in a rhythm format that will help you remember. Okay, so that's and ba. And ba. Remember, this part is Lashawan Qadash, or Hebrew. The bottom is Assyrian. And like I said, a little later on, we're going to explain why the Assyrian is important. All right, so next would be ga. Ba, ga. Ga. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not even going to include the English alphabet at the top. That's going to confuse some. I'm not even going to do that. All right, so I'm not going to do that. It might be a bit confusing, actually, so we're going to stick with the sounding out. That'll help you understand the English, all right? So, ba, ga is next. Ga, okay? Ga, ga, and it looks like this, all right? Just like you can see up there. I'll probably have to get a bigger picture eventually, but that's just for my reference. But that's what it looks like. Ga, that's the ancient Hebrew, all right? And then the Assyrian. All right. Ba, ga. So that's ba, and ga. Let me make sure. All right, next. Ba, ga, da. So the next one is the da sound. All right, da. And then the letter that is, or not letter, the character that it represents in the Lashawan Qadash pictogram is that. Looks like a triangle. Very easy to remember. Okay, very easy. And eventually, we're going to go over slowly what about the Assyrian. The Assyrian, I know for most brothers, is the hardest part to remember, but that'll come just as easy. All right. The Assyrian looks like this. Almost like a 7, but not quite. The one that looks like the 7 the most is the Ra in the Assyrian. That, to me, that looks like the 7 the most. That some of them are going to be easy to understand because they may sound like or look like English letters. Oh, hold on. Shalom, officers. Baja. Yahba Shem Yashabrak.
Shalamak, Yahaba Shem Yashabrak.
All right. So we're going over the alphabet slowly here.
Kanak.
So we got Ba, Ga, and Da so far. So here's what it would be in the Lashawan, Qadash, and the Assyrian. And like I said when I started the video, we're going to learn why it's very important in a bit. We're going to learn why it's very important to know the Assyrian because I'll break it down a little bit quickly. We have what the world calls the Torah in this right here, in the ancient Hebrew. Right? A lot of the manuscripts we don't necessarily have in ancient Hebrew. We have them in Assyrian because a lot of them were scribed, by scribes coming out of Babylon, like the letters of Isaiah and stuff. We don't necessarily have all of them in full ancient Hebrew, but we do for the Torah. So we do know, or in the truth, we call it the Tawara. All right, the world just calls it the Torah. So just for people in the world to try to understand, we have it in the first 5 books. We have in this. We have manuscripts. So that means we know our people were writing in that language, that tongue. But past that, we don't have any record of it like that. So what we need, we do have Assyrian scrolls. So what we do is we take the Assyrian, we would transliterate it back to the Lashawan Qadash, and we'll know exactly what our ancestors are saying. All right, and then there's more. That'll be definitely more to cover, in later classes. All right, so next, Abagadaha. Abagadaha. Ha, and the ha looks like a hand. All right, the ha looks like a hand. It actually means to put forth hand. All right, the full pronunciation of the word is, or not the word, but to pronounce the full character would be Hada. Hada, which is H-A-D-A-H. All right, anybody, and including you kids, anybody questions, just ask. So I can clarify. All right, ancient Hebrew or Lashawan Qadash, it looks like a ha. And then now the Assyrian, I'm writing underneath. Looks like that. So ba, ga, da, ha. And eventually it's going to be really easy. Like I said, it's going to be easy to remember. Just like remember our ABCs. You have a little theme or a little rhythm you got with it. A, B, C, D, E, F. Same thing here. Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za. All right. Let me try to write them bigger. All right. So ba, ga, da, ha, wa is next. Wa. Looks like this. And the Assyrian looks like this. And that means a hook. That's like a hook, all right? And to pronounce the full character is wah. But of course, we're going to get into connectors later on once all the students, are more familiar with the alphabet. But Well, you wouldn't, for example, when you're putting a character in a word, you're not going to say, for example, alap, which is A. You're not going to say alap. You're not going to say bayat. You're not going to pronounce it fully. You're not going to say gamal. All right. You're not going to say dalat. You're not going to say it fully because the connectors show you how to pronounce it properly, when to drop like the last two or the last three letters. But it's important to know how to pronounce it fully. Because just like B, B is spelled B-E-E, or you know what I'm saying, that the letter, but you don't say that all the time. But B just makes the B sound. Same situation here. The alap makes the A sound. Bayat is Ba. Gamal is Ga. Dalat, Da. All right. Salagya. Hada, it'd be Ha. And then Wa is just Wa. You all understand? All right. Next, Abagada Wa Za. Za. That's next. Za looks like this in Hebrew, just like a Z. So again, like I said, some of them are going to be easy to remember because you'll know, oh, it looks just like just like what it is in the English. Like Sha is pretty easy. It's like a W. All right. Za is a Z. Da is a triangle. You're going to find yourself using these key points to remember them. I definitely did. And then what it looks like in the Assyrian, or as I always hear Officer Bond call it, the bastard tongue. It's very true. It is Assyrian is a bastardized tongue. Unfortunately, people were speaking it post-Babylonian captivity, so that's how we have our manuscript today to make what we call the Bible. And we need to translate those, and we need to understand the Assyrian to understand our history book. You know what I'm saying? So that's Za. Here's this. Here's the pictograph, Hebrew or Lashawan Qadash, and then underneath again the Assyrian. All right. Next is Abaga Daha Wa Za, and then Ka is next. And Ka is in the sound it makes will start with the K, not the C, not the CH or Salakia. My bad. It is the CHAA. Next Ka is 2 letters later. So go Ka. Ka. All right. Ka. The pictograph looks like this. Looks like a ladder. Just like a ladder with 3 steps. It's easy to remember for construction workers, okay? A ladder. 3 steps. And then the Assyrian, I like to remember it as like a step ladder, just with one step, and that's it. That's the Assyrian underneath. Very simple. Oh, you know what? Give me a moment. I got to put the sign-in links.
Don't worry about it. I got it. I'll do it right now.
Oh, okay. The water. All right.
Y'all in the barak.
So Ka, that's next. Next would be Ya. Oh no, stop. Next would be Ta. All right. Ta is next. So it's the T-A sound. T-A. 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 The character, that what it looks like is a circle with an X in it. All right? And it means basket. The full way to pronounce it would be Tana. Let me just go over these quick. That would be Wawa, Zayan. All right? This one is Kama. Ka is Kama, and then Ta is Tana. We'll write those out later, so that way you can write that in your notebooks. All right, we'll go over that after. That's also important. In the Assyrian, for Ta, all right, this is where it gets a bit tricky. The Ta. Now, for the Assyrian, unfortunately, there would be 2 or 3 different letters that look alike, and that can be confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 or 3 letters that look alike for the Assyrian. In the ancient, none of them look alike. Obviously there may be some similarities, but not to the point where you get confused. You'll know this is its own. You'll never be confused like, oh, that's the Ta. It looks the same as the Za or the Wa. That's not the case. All right. But for the Assyrian, some of them look alike. We're gonna see it. So Ta is right here. All right. Ta is like this weird thing here. I don't know how to describe it really. Ta. Okay. So pictograph or Lashawan, Qadash, ancient Hebrew, Assyrian underneath. All right. Next, Abagadahawazakata Ya. All right, Ya like Yahweh. That's a Y-A. 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 All right. Y-A is Ya. And the full pronunciation of Ya is Yada. Make sure. Oh, it's Yad, not Yada. Yad. Y-A-D. Okay, Y-A-D. Yad. Yada means to know someone. To know. All right, that's Yada, but that's a separate topic. That's why I got confused. So Yad. All right. It looks like this. You can't mistake it. You can't get it confused because it's the first character. Hey, stop. It's the first character for the name of Yahweh. You're even going to see it amongst fake Israelites. Some fake Israelites use that language, the language that I.S.U.P.K discovered. Yeah, it's a very cool looking character. Personally, to me, I think it's pretty cool looking.
Right.
All right, all of the Lashawan Qadash is pretty cool looking. But Ya is interesting. All right, so Ya. And the full pronunciation of Ya is Yad. In the Assyrian, or the bastard tongue, it looks like this, very simple. You won't be able to forget this in the Assyrian. It's just a little, a little hook. You know what I'm saying? That's a small one. That's the Assyrian right underneath there. All right. Okay, so next. All right. Before we move on, we're gonna get everybody to pronounce. We're gonna all pronounce the alphabet or the Lashawan Qadash together. Okay. So repeat after me.
Ba.
Wa. Da. Ha. Wa. Za. Ka. Ta. and Ya. It's very simple. Basically, I know it's probably kind of small as a budget, but I'm gonna try to get a bigger one. Up here, almost every Lashawan Qadash character ends in an A, except for one. Only one character doesn't end in an A. So it's gonna be, the pronunciation is gonna come firsthand. It's gonna be real quick. The only character that doesn't end in A is I. All right, I, which is Ayan. Ayan, which is Yahweh Shai, the last letter for Yahweh Shai's name. I, okay? And that's it looks like a circle. We're going to get to that. But that's every other letter ends in A. Ka is 2 A's, all right? Tazah ends in A. Sha, Tha, everything is an A, all right? All right, so next we're going to go under. Oh, I think I can fit one more here at the end. Next is Ka. But not kama with the CH. Like, okay, CH you would use for, okay, the best example, Captain Katza. All right, we're all familiar with Captain Katza. We hear about him all the time. Big captain in this truth on Cross the Line Radio.
Right.
That's how you would spell his name. You wouldn't use a K. You would use a CH, the Ka. K for different situations. Hold on one sec.
Oh, snap.
All right, so Salakia Ka would be Kataza, C-H-A, all right, T, and then C-H-A-A-T-A-Z-A. Kataza. The next one we're doing is Ka with a K. Ka with a K. And that pronunciation, Salakia, and that pictograph, that'll also be kind of easy to remember because basically it's like a backwards K, but a rounded out version. So not a stick version, how our English K is. It's like a rounded version. I'm going to write it right here. And it's backwards, okay? It's not facing right, it's facing left, okay? Looks like this. Everybody see that? Like a rounded out K? That's, these are little things I do to help remember the Hebrew. Things like this, okay? Backwards K. Anybody online who needs me to bring the camera, just let me know if you can't see. You want me to bring the camera closer, all right? Or any questions, just type it in the chat. People who are viewing online. All right, so that's Ka in the Lashawan Qadash, backwards K, that's a rounded version. In the Assyrian, it looks like half of a square, but a bit rounded. And then also facing left. Looks like that. Now here's where it gets tricky with the Assyrian. If you're using the word Ka, or the letter Ka, at the end of a word, here's where it gets tricky. You would do this one. Okay? You would do that right there. If it's at the end, and there's 5 Assyrian letters in total that are like this. There's 5 of them where if you were to use them at the end, you would draw them out differently, which that's gonna be easy to, of course we're gonna get a hang of it. All right, so here, and now the good thing is with our pure language, the Lashawan Qadash, there is no characters like that. They're all the same every time. There's no different one at the end. All right, it doesn't work like that. Okay, but for the Assyrian, which is underneath, if it's at the end, it looks like this. If it's in the middle or the beginning, it looks like the top one. Not the very top, but the middle one. Salaki. All right, so that's ka. All right, you guys got that written down? You guys let me know when I can move on. Hurry up, Joseph. Or I should say double time, Jojo. Okay, I'm gonna go underneath. After ka will be abagadaha wazakataya ka, and then la. La is next. This is another one of those letters that is easy to remember. I'll show you why. La makes the lamad. Lamad is how you would pronounce the character fully in the Lashawan Qadash, the ancient. And the Assyrian, again, the Assyrian is so easy and simple to remember. Looks just like an English L. So just like the za looks like a Z, la looks like an L in the English. So it'll be easy for us, the bastardized tongue, to remember. The ancient Hebrew la, just like an English L, facing the correct way. All right? In the Assyrian, it looks like this. It's a bit tricky. That's a bit weird, I know. That's what it looks like in the Assyrian. I'll give you guys a minute to copy. You guys got it? All right, so that's la, an ancient and an Assyrian. Very simple. All right, la. La. So next after la is ma. All right, ma. Actually, let me rewrite that. That's even worse. Hold on, my bad. So like, ma looks like, now the ma also kind of looks like an M, but it's so interesting. You know, it's so interesting how some of these look like English. Here's what the ma looks like. Well, almost like an M, but it's like a half of an M, but then it comes down into a hook. That's ma. And ma is mayam. Same word for water. Mayam. See that in the Genesis chapter 1 a lot. Mayam. All right, that's what it looks like in the ancient. Mayam. You guys a minute. Mayam. All right, that's mayam. Makes sense? Okay, now we're going to do in the Assyrian. The Assyrian is not so bad to remember for the ma, but the only thing is this is one of those characters to where if it's at the end of a word, it looks different, okay? So we're going to do both. So it's like a hump or a circle, half a circle or whatever that looks like to you guys, okay? And then with a stick sticking up and out. That's ma in the ancient. That's the good. Put this in the fridge for me. Careful. All right. So that's ma. Now, if it's at the end of a word, it's the same thing. But the stick isn't up and to the left. It's straight across. Straight across. Okay? So that's if it's at the end. Again, when looking at the board, when you see a third character, which typically you're going to see two, one is the ancient, one is the Assyrian, but when you see a third, it's the Assyrian if the character is used at the end. All right, so that's ma or mayam, which means water. That's all over. Officers of Baja, you know that because you read that for the Hebrew, for the Sabbath service. Mayam is used a lot in Genesis chapter 1.
Right.
Water, all the water that the Most High created. All right. Mayam. Next is na. Na. Another interesting part is in the English alphabet, M and N is in the same position. Same thing here. M-N. M-N. All right. English is Esau's language. We have to remember that Esau was once a Hebrew speaker. All right, that's important to remember because that's why there's some similarities with Hebrew and English. All right, because Esau was once a Hebrew speaker. He knew Lashawan Qadash. Okay. All right, and it's going to be very similar. Right, not to say that it's completely the same, of course. That's a bastard language. We have a pure language. Shalom, Lord in Christ.
Shalom, Lord in Christ.
All right, so for what you've missed, basically we're going over the Lashawan Qadash from A to Sha, from A to Sha, Tha. All right, from 20 to 22 characters. We're going to go from the beginning to the end. And once all of us, all the students in I.S.U.P.K. Canada, once we're all down packed with saying it like Abba, Gada, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, all right? Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Mana, Sa, I, Pa, Taza, Karashatha. Once you can do that without having to look, then we're going to move on and we're going to get words. We're going to do phrases, sentences, and then we're even going to do verses. All right, we're going to be doing Hebrew commands. We're going to be doing lots of stuff. But first, we have to get the simple alphabet down, all right, or the Lashawan Qadash. So, Yerad, what we have here is the sound at the top. The very top is the sound that the character makes. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, and ma. We're moving on. That's the sound. Underneath that is the pictogram version, is the pictograph version of the ancient Hebrew, or what it looks like if you're writing it down. Okay? What it would look like. I shouldn't say pictograph. That's not correct, actually. It's just the Assyrian. I shouldn't say pictograph. Just the Assyrian, right? It's not Assyrian. Ancient. Underneath would be the Assyrian, or the bastardized tongue. This what you see right here, the second column, the second row, is what the fake Jews speak, because they basically, our people learned this in post-Babylonian captivity. We wrote scrolls down in this language, and then, of course, when the fake Jews migrated to Jerusalem, they had all of our records, and they just took this Assyrian and started to add vowel points to it, and now you got that weird and all that weird stuff. All right. We don't really do it like that. Maybe a little bit of that sound, but not like the way those Turkish migrants do it, immigrants. All right? Nothing like that is in the Lashawan Qadash. It's very straightforward and all right? Ka, za, wa. We don't go wa and cha, you know what I'm saying? We don't do that. Just ka. Nobody says, hey, shalom, Captain Khataza. you do that. Captain Khataza, you're gonna get checked. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't go up to Captain Tazariak and say, "Hey, shalom, Captain Tazariak."
Right.
That's not Hebrew. That's the white man's language. That's Esau Esau's bastardization of the language. Alrighty. So we're gonna move on. Next after ma is na. But you're right. You understand the concept we're going here? Everything makes sense?
Kalokasa.
All right. Any questions? Just say Stock. You have a question. All right.
Kalokasa.
So next after ma is na. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes in the English it's going to be similar. For example, in the English alphabet, ma and na is in the same order. Joseph, don't be making so much noise, okay? Ma and na is in the same order, just like it is in the Lashawan Qadash. Ma and na. All right? So la, ma, na. And when we're done this, we're going to go over it until we remember. Have to remember the alphabet. You remember the English alphabet. We can all say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. All right, we can all do that. Why not do it with our own pure language?
All right.
Jupiter, you have your sword on you?
Kalokasa.
Get me Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9 very quickly. While he's doing that, here's what the na looks like in ancient Hebrew. Na. So it's just like the ma, but it's a bit less. So compare the two and remember that. It's just like the ma, but a bit less. Na. Unfortunately, again, in the Assyrian now, this is one of those characters where if it's used at the end of a word, it looks different. So let me write it out in the Assyrian if you were to use it at the beginning or the middle of a word. Looks like this. Right, looks like that. It's kind of like a half of a square, but with a hump going inwards in the middle. Okay, that's na. Now, if you're using na at the end of a word in Assyrian, only in Assyrian again. Ancient Hebrew does not do that. It does. Every character is going to be the same, whether it's at the beginning of the word or an end of the word. It's all going to be the same, but for the bastardized version, it's different if it's at the end. And I'm going to explain to you shortly, Yaron, like I explained at the beginning of the class, why it's important to understand the Assyrian. Okay, so it looks like this. It looks like a ya. It looks like a wa. The next one for na, if it's at the end, it looks like a wa, but a little bit different. It's very, very slight. You may not even notice it. Just like the wa, but with a hump at the back before it goes up into the corner. It's pretty much the same thing. If you wrote it out looking like the wa, if somebody who knows Hebrew knows the word, they're gonna know it's na and not wa. But technically, like if you look on the chart, I know the chart's kind of small. When you look up at the top of the printing version, there's a bit of a hump. All right. So that's how it would look. Again, you use this if it's at the end of a word. If it's at the beginning or the middle, you use this. End, beginning or middle. End, beginning or middle. That's only for the Assyrian. All right, you guys a minute to write this down. Make sure you're writing it down. It's good practice. I know the email should have went forth. The email should be sent through to everybody, which is this chart. But during class, it's good to, like when I'm watching Hebrew class, I'm always writing it down. You know what I'm saying? I have a whole notebook, dedicated to Hebrew. All right, and it's good to write it down because that's how you get familiar with it. Okay, so la, ma, na, sa. Sa is next. So that makes the S-A sound. Sa. Sa netta. Like sa netta, all right? Our Dominican brother. Sa netta. Sa. So that in the Lashawan Qadash is sa. It's sawad. So it sounds like sakad, saquad, like Chuber saquad, but to spell this, it's sawad. All right. So Yarad, you weren't here for this, but each character has a way to pronounce the character. Besides the way you would pronounce the beginning of it, like ba, ga. Each character has a way you would say the whole character. For example, is alap, ba is bayat, ga is gamal, da is dalat, ha is it's hada, wa is wawa, za zayan, ka is kama, ta is tana, all right, ya is yad, ka is kama, or sorry, it's ka, not kama. The next one would be la, which is lamad, right? Mayam, napash, which means soul, and then we got sawad. Okay. Now, and when you're writing out a word, you don't include that whole. You wouldn't like if you got a word that comprises of and then za, you're not gonna say alap zayan. When we have it has two e's at the end when you say b, but you wouldn't include the two e's because you know the b also makes the buh sound. Just like not necessarily alap. Alap is just the pictogram form and how to understand what it means. Alap means cow. Bayat means house. Gamal is camel. Dalat is door. But what we now definitely, we can definitely understand that more in a separate class. All right, so sa is next. What it looks like in the ancient Hebrew is this: a stick with 3 lines. A stick with 3 lines. That's the ancient Hebrew. Sa, sawad, sa. Okay. In the Assyrian or the bastard, you would say samach. So let's say samach. All right, the bastard, samach. And it looks like this. It looks like it's like an O with a little horn sticking out the left side. That's Assyrian. It's Assyrian ancient. All right, Assyrian ancient. Sawad. All right, sawad. Like I was saying, there's only 5 characters in total for the Assyrian, to where if you're using at the end, it looks different. So there's only 5 we have to worry about, which is the ka, all right, the ma, the na, all right, the tiza, and then the tiza and the na. Actually, that. Oh, and the pa, We're gonna get to that. All right. So does that make sense so far? For everybody, does that make sense so far? What we've been going through? Any questions?
Con, that makes sense.
Okay, most on Christ. Perfect. Okay. Yes.
I have a question.
What's your question?
What are these words down here?
This one. Remember, this is if you're writing it at the end of a word. Okay. This is at the end of a word.
Okay.
I'll go over that with you privately. Okay. You just keep writing them down. All right. Next, I, which is the last character used in Yahawashai's name. All right, his name goes Yahawashai. Yad, all right. Yad, Hada, Wawa. Or shall I get? It's Yad, Hada, Wawa. And Shah or Shan, and then Ayan, that's I. So it's just one syllable, one sound, I. And that is very simple to remember in ancient Hebrew. It's just a big circle. Okay, just a big circle, I. And it actually means I. All right, the circle represents, just for, I'm just going to write it quick, just for image sake. The point of this is to actually represent an I. That's a terrible I, but okay. Because the circle again represents an I. So that's why, again, Esau spoke Hebrew. Okay, he used to speak Lashawan Qadash. So now with the language he's developed now, of course, there's going to be similarities to the language he used to speak. All right, Esau came from Isaac, just like Jacob did. They were all Hebrew-speaking people. Okay, I, it means a physical eye, and it's a circle shaped like an eye. Okay, we're ready to get this in the regular form. Big circle. In Assyrian, it's kind of weird. The I and the Tizah look very similar, very, very similar in Assyrian. The I and the Tizah. This is where things can get confusing. So the I looks like this. Two dashes that connect. It's like it's about to make like a U, but then you would take the tail and connect it to the left. Ayan. Ayan. Okay? Ayan. It's almost like, it's like a U, but with a tail swinging to the bottom left corner. That's Ayan. Now the Tizah is very similar. That's something people, brothers and sisters might get confused with. So you just gotta remember, we're gonna get through it. Just get a picture memory in your brain. You guys got that one? All right. That's Ayan. Next is Abagada Hawazakata Yaka Lamana Sa'ai Pa. Next is Pa. Makes the P sound. P-A. P-A sound. Should have went lower. All right, and that looks like this. In the Hebrew, looks kind of funny to me. Looks like looks like this. So, for personally, whatever these characters look like to you in your mind, remember that, because that's what's gonna help you. For me, like, I know what each of these look like to me, and that's what helps you remember. Like, to me, this looks like half of a coffee cup. That's what will help you. Little things like that is gonna help you remember. Okay, that's the pa. Now in the Assyrian, again, this is another situation where it's two different ones. If it's spelt at the end, it's going to be different. So it's like this. It looks like the ta, which is also extra confusing. It kind of looks like the ta. Here's what it looks like. It's kind of like a G. You guys see that? It's kind of like a G. Now the second one is the one, if you would use it if it's at the end, is not so confusing. Looks like this. Same thing. You would start out the same way, but you wouldn't connect it. You wouldn't round it out. It's like a hangman. It looks like that, like hangman. All right. Pa. Pa. All right. Next is Tazah. So remember, Tazah and Ayan are a bit similar. So let me try to break this down. Tazah. Like Tazaryak. That's how we use Tazaryak. Tazaryak is Tazah, Ra, and Ka. Tazaryak. All right, Tazaryak. Not but Ka. Tazaryak. So here's the Ka. Okay. Now the Tazah, like I said, Tazah looks like the Ayan. Watch. No, it's not. Let me write the ancient first. All right. Looks like a. Yeah, it almost looks like a flag. All right, and Tazah is a tomahawk. You know what? A better way to describe it would be a tomahawk. It kind of looks like an axe, not a flag. It kind of looks like a flag, but it looks more like a tomahawk. That's why it's called that, like an axe or a throwing axe. A tomahawk is a throwing axe. Okay, it's an axe, but it's a throwing one, so it's going to be a little bit lighter, more agile, a bit smaller, so you can launch it. Like a full-size axe may not be that easy to throw. So this is Tazah. It's also a cool-looking character, in my opinion. You guys are gonna get through the ancient Hebrew real easy. The ancient Hebrew is real simple. But the Assyrian, our people, when they became bastards, wanted to speak like a heathen. This is what happened. So here's what it looks like Assyrian. So now you see how these two look alike? See how these two look alike right here?
Con.
Both Assyrian. That's going to confuse you. And this is all important for the officer's test, for the troopers. The officer's test is very heavy. There's no joke. It's not even no simple alphabet like this. It's very, very heavy. Can't give it to you, of course, but you need to understand. Do not get these confused. The difference is, see the rounding point at the bottom? This is just straight down. Here it's rounding. And you got to remember which side it goes to. The officer that's going to be marking the Hebrew test is going to be watching for that kind of stuff. If you make it round to the left side, you fail. All right? Just one mistake, you fail. It has to be rounded to the right side, pointing to the right side. Remember, write these down. Look at them every day. Okay? And then the Tazah at the end of a letter, or slagi, the Tazah at the end of a word is even worse. This is what it looks like. Oh, see, I actually just did it wrong too. Yeah, this is very important to remember. Like this. Okay. That's where we still get the end. So now there's no hump and it's going the opposite way. Everybody can see my screen good?
Con, sir.
Okay, perfect. So that's Tazah. All right, soon once we breeze by the alphabet, we're gonna know numbers 1 to 100. It's not the book of numbers, like actual numbers. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 to 100. All right, we're gonna understand it all. Trooper, you're right.
Yeah, consider you're cutting out.
Slagi, do you have that precept I asked you for?
Oh, con.
Read that quick for us, Baba Kasha.
Con, sir. It's chapter 3 and verse 11.
What book is it?
Zephaniah
Yeah, make sure you read out the book. Zephaniah 3 and 9.
3 and 9.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 9. For then I will restore to the peoples a pure language, that they all may call on the name of the Lord.
See that? The Lashawan Qadash is prophesied in the Bible. Because this is pure, unadulterated, non-bastardized Hebrew. A real Hebrew. It's called the Lashawan Qadash. Lashawan Qadash just means holy tongue. Read that one more time, Trooper.
Khan. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord.
See that? A pure language, that they may all call on the name of the Lord. All right. In the book of Acts, Paul called on Yahweh's name in Hebrew. All right. That's a pure language. He called upon it in Hebrew. We're going to get that a little later. Probably going to bring out Zephaniah 3 and 9 every class, because that's such a heavy verse. It prophesies, and that shows you the I.S.U.P.K is the home of the truth, is because One West, I.S.U.P.K brought out Lashawan Qadash. We're the ones that brought it out. No other fake camp. We prophesied the 12 tribe chart. We prophesied the Lashawan Qadash. All these things that the scriptures prophesied, the holy men above us brought it out.
That's right.
Like I always say, the prophecies were fulfilled in the I.S.U.P.K. All right, he's going to restore to us a pure language, and that's happening in these Hebrew classes. That's why it's so important. You know what I'm saying? We got to call upon them in a pure tongue. We got to speak to one another, our brothers, in a pure tongue. It's going to be so cool when we're all speaking Hebrew and understanding it on one accord. It's going to be a very, cool sight to see. All right, so after Tazah, Abagadahawaza, all right, is Ka. Now to me, here, I'm going to write it out quick. Ka is Q. A. Ka. Ka. All right, and the ancient Hebrew, it looks like a mushroom. Looks like a mushroom. That's how I remember. All right. And then the Assyrian looks like a bootleg letter R. Is the best way I can describe it. A bootleg letter R. Here's what it looks like. That's like half of an R. Like, the stick is not finished. It extends out past the top a little bit. Okay. That's Ka. Ancient Syrian. Ancient Assyrian. All right. After Ka is Ra. Ra. Ra is very simple. It's like the bayat, but instead it's like a triangle, but instead of the stick going down and hooking out, it's just like this. Straight down. That kind of more looks like a flag. All right. That's Ra. That is Ra'ash. How do you say Ra? And it means head. Ra'ash means head. Like Yahushai is the head of the church. Which is the church, the body of Christ. Okay, Ra'ash. Now in Assyrian, it's pretty simple. It's a 7, basically. It's like a 7, just like that. Remember, bayat. It's not bayat. Da is almost like a 7. As you can see here, the back sticks out a bit more. So it's not a 7. The Ra is more like a 7. Remember that. A few times, studying it, I get the Ra in Assyrian and the Da in Assyrian confused. Okay. Ra means head. And there's no way to write it at the end. If it's in Assyrian, it's just simple like that. Ra is a very easy character to remember. Next is, hold on 1 second. Next is Shah. Shah. Shah is also in Yahweh Shai. It's the fourth letter, or character, Shah. And this is very easy to remember. Looks like a W. Exactly like a W. Means teeth. Means teeth. The way you pronounce Shah is Shan. Shan. All right, Shah. Yahweh Shai. The reason you don't say Yahweh Shah is because there's an ayin at the end, so you wouldn't fully pronounce the Shah. You would replace the A with an I, Yahweh Shai. All right? We're going to get into connectors a little bit later on. A little bit, a few classes later. That's also important to understand. Yahweh Shai. Shah means teeth. Looks just like a W. All right? The last character is Tha. Tha. Like Thawada. Thank you. Thawada or Thawara. All right. Thawara means instruction or law or what the heathen called the Torah. Okay. Thawara. That's how you would first pronounce Thawara, the Tha. And it looks like this. This is also very simple. It's an X. It's an X. All right. This part would be sticking out a little bit more according to the chart. So it's an X. Tha. And in the Assyrian, I didn't do the Assyrian for Shah. For the Assyrian and Shah, it also looks like the ancient looks like this. It's like, yeah. It's like it looks like the W kind of, but as you can see, shaped a little bit differently. That's Shah. This is Tha. Tha in Assyrian is just like Ha, except, let me show you. Oh, I'm in the way. Except Ha, you wouldn't connect the stick at the back. There's a little gap. You guys see that gap? You see what I'm pointing at? Yeah, that gap. You wouldn't do that for Ha. But Tha, it's connected. It looks exactly the same in Assyrian. Remember, and this is a key point you need to remember. In the ancient Hebrew, no characters look alike. They all have their own root, their own pronunciation, except for Ka. That is similar, but they don't all look. None of them look alike. All right, you look up here. You don't see. Look at the second row. You don't see anything that looks alike. Nothing. Even the Ba and the Ra, there's a hook at the end. A very distinctive hook. You can't make that mistake.
Yeah. Right.
But the Assyrian, a lot of them look alike. The Tizah, that looks like the Ayan. The Tha, that looks like the Ha. All right?
Yeah.
Pa, that looks like Tizah. Oh no, not Tizah. That looks like Ta. All right? The Assyrian is gonna be hard to get used to, but you will get the hang of it. That's just the hardest part of learning the Hebrew, really. The ancient Hebrew was very simple and fun to learn. The Assyrians have been annoying, But like I said, we have to learn it. So I was gonna explain to you, Rod, why we need to learn Assyrian, because for the first 5 books of Moses, Mashal, we have his scrolls in ancient Hebrew. We have the first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. We have that in ancient Hebrew. But other Old Testament manuscripts we have in this Assyrian. So in order to understand what the letters would have looked like in ancient, we need to understand the Assyrian. We need to transliterate it back. All right, let me show you something quick on my phone. Everybody should have Blue Letter Bible on their phone. That's a One West tool that we use, okay?
Gotcha.
Let me show you guys something. See this right here? Oh, there we go. Let me see if I put this in. Can you guys see that?
Salakia, you might have to turn down your backlight on your phone.
How about now?
It's kind of
Let me see. All right, either way. Okay, there you go. There it is. See that one at the top? You guys see that? You don't have to take it out completely, but as long as you can kind of see it. That's what we have. We have manuscripts past Deuteronomy we have in this. So in order to understand what it would say in the pure tongue or the Lashawan Qadash, we have to transliterate it back. For example, in that Assyrian Hebrew, in this bastardized Hebrew, there's a lap in there. There's an A, there's an A, there's a ba, but it's as we've done on the board, it's written out different. So where there would be an A, we would write it in its proper form. That's why we need the Assyrian to understand how to write it out in the pure tongue, the holy tongue, the Lashawan Qadash. We have Isaiah, we have Ezekiel, we have the prophets, we have Kings and Chronicles. All of these manuscripts are written in Assyrian. All right. What we know for sure is we have the Sawara or the Torah or the first 5 books. We have that in ancient Hebrew. That's how we know our people spoke that language. That didn't come out till I.S.U.P.K. by now.
right.
Okay. So this is the ancient Hebrew alphabet. All right. We got A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Tza, Ka, Ra, Sha, Tha. So we're all gonna go over it again. Okay, we got Trooper Barak Ya Allah. Shalom, Trooper, Lord in Christ. Glad you can make it to the Hebrew class.
Right.
All right. So we're all gonna say it together. Okay, we're all gonna do the Hebrew together, and then we're gonna do something after that as well. So everybody, repeat after me. We got
Ah.
Ba,
Ba.
Ga,
Ga.
Da,
Da.
Ha,
Ta.
Wa,
Wa.
Za,
Za.
Ka,
Ka.
Ta,
Ta.
Ya,
Ya.
Ka,
Ka.
La,
La.
Ma,
Ma.
Na,
Na.
Sa,
Sa.
I,
I.
Pa,
Pa.
Tza,
Tza.
Ka,
Ka.
Ra,
Ra.
Sha, Tha,
Da. Karashatha.
Karashata. Listen, that's how I remembered the first That's like the last 4 characters because that
Right?
just flows like Karashatha. That sounds like that could be somebody's name in the school. Karashatha.
Salakia, Ak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, when we were breaking them down into names, that really helped.
Yeah,
That definitely helped.
I'm gonna find out if that's a name, and if I ever get to name a young man, I'm gonna get my name. All right, so look out. Anybody joining UPK within the next year or two, look out. You're about to be named Karashatha. All right. All right. So we're gonna practice it a little bit now that you got it. Yerad, I know we have it on the chart, but did you guys write it down as we went along?
I haven't wrote it down, so I have it on the email.
Okay, remember what I said. It's important to write it down. We all have it on email. But listen, I would not understand Hebrew at all if I didn't have this book right here. In this book, I've got a bunch of Hebrew notes. I had to write it down. Because I wrote down the Hebrew notes, now I know the numbers from 1 to 10. I can say it by remembering it without even looking. Okay, so
Right.
I did that only by writing it down. So Trooper, make sure you're doing that, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do practice a little bit, all right? I'm gonna start with officers of budget, if you can, you know what I'm saying? Without looking, say what you can, and by the end of the night, you guys are gonna be able to say it without looking. You know what I'm saying? If you mess it up, that's okay. That's completely okay. This is a brand new thing for our people. All right, this is something that not even fake Israelites know this stuff. Understand? So we've come a long way from all the languages we've been caught up in. So to learn this is very important, and it's very impressive if you can even get some of it. So officers of Baja, when you're ready, go ahead and try to pronounce it all out without looking.
Without looking, Abagada, Hawa,
Yep.
Zaka,
Tawab.
Taya,
Khan.
Ka,
Khan.
Lama,
Khan.
Nasa, I,
You got it up. You got it up.
I,
Yep.
Hataza,
Yep.
Karashatha. I got that one for sure.
There you go. See, one time Christ. See that? Karashata right there, man. Wow, excellent, priest. All right.
Dualak.
Trooper, you're right. You go ahead. Whatever you can remember, even if it's the first 3 or the first 2, try to remember what we just went over. All right. So without looking, from A to Tha, go ahead. Okay.
Gotcha. Aba, Ka,
La. So it'd be A, Ba, Ga. So here's what I do. Here's what I do. Even with my rib at home. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over the first 4. Once you get the first 4 down, all right. Because we don't have a physical school like the other schools, they would be in class and they go up and write it on the board. But because we don't have that, we have to do it over online. So what we're gonna do, Truby Arad, is you're gonna remember the first 4. So we're gonna go over the first 4. Once you have the first 4 down, we move on. Okay. So A, Ba, Ga, Da. That's what you got to get down pat. A, Ba, Ga, and Da. All right. Ready? Try again.
So like this, sir. So when you write it, right? So when you're writing it from the right going left. So what's the first letter? If I can see, the first letter is H, right?
Here, hold on.
Salakia Ak. We do from the right to the left, but read it like from like how you're gonna read English, not like in the pronunciation necessarily, but like how you're gonna read English. So it'd be AH. Like read it left to right, but we write right to left, if that makes sense.
That's a good point. I should have said that. So because it may be a bit confusing. That's the water for that. At the top,
I
where
understand.
your rod, at the top, the very top, it's the. I should have explained it to you, but you came in a little bit later. So, ba, ga. That's the English or the English pronunciation of how you would say the Hebrew character. So the very top, it's from left to right, like how we would write English. Okay, everything underneath is considered right to left. Okay, the whole alphabet is in right to left. Notice A is not over here. All right, but AH is in its proper order because it's just the pronunciation. So that's why, and I put the line underneath so you can make sure when you see the two English letters with the line underneath, that's the pronunciation. Read that and pronounce that like you would in English. Okay. Underneath it, it's the Hebrew character. So the Hebrew character alap makes the ah sound. The Hebrew character bayat makes the ba sound. The Hebrew character gamal makes the ga sound. Does that make sense?
Come.
All right. So now ba, ga, and da. You have to remember those four, all right? And then when you get those four, we move on. Whenever you're ready.
Ba, ga, da.
Khan. Khan. Ba, ga, da. All right. Ba, ga, da. All right. If you have a notebook, all right, or a spare piece of paper on you, not now. What you just because you haven't wrote it yet. What you should do right now is write the pronunciations. Write A, B-A, G-A, D-A, H-A. All right, you're gonna write those up because that's gonna help you to remember how to pronounce it. Okay. So again, do the first four.
Ba, ga, da.
Most High in Christ. Khan. Ba, ga, and da. One more time, and then we're gonna move on.
Khan. Ba, ga, da.
Khan. Ba, ga, and da. All right. The next one. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the first four like you got down packed. You're gonna add wa at the end, or you're gonna add ha at the end. Ba, ga, da, ha. You're gonna add the ha at the end. Can you remember that?
Ba, ga, da.
All right. So ba, ga, da, and ha. When you're ready, do those five.
Khan. Ba, ga, da, ha.
One more time.
Ba, ga, da, ha.
Khan. Ba, ga, da, ha. All right. Most High God. Do one more time. The first five.
Khan. Ba, ga, da, ha.
Perfect. All right. Perfect. So now you're going to be ready to add the wa. So it'll be ba, ga, da, ha, and then wa at the end. So add the wa after the ha. Remember, you already got the four down packed. You just proved you got the five, the fifth one. So now you add the wa. All right. Ba, ga, da, ha, wa. When you're ready, go ahead.
Ba, da, ga, ha, wa.
I think you said da first. So remember, it's ba, ga, and then da. Ba, ga, da. It's the GA and then the DA. GA and then the DA. All right. So again, do the first five. Ba, ga, da, ha. Do that.
Ba, da, ga.
I think you keep mixing up the DA with the GA. All right. Remember, after the A, and ba, it's ga and then da. All right. A, ba, ga, da.
Okay, okay.
All right. So go ahead.
A, ba, ga, da, ha.
There you go. Perfect. A, ba, ga, da, ha. One more time up.
A, ba, ga, da, ha.
Perfect. Next. All right. So you got that. Remember the GA and then the DA. After ha is wa. So a, ba, ga, da, ha, wa. All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and add that one.
Okay. A, ba, da.
La. Remember, ga and then da.
A, ba. Sorry, let me see that again. A, ba, da. A, ba, ga, da, ha. Wow. Okay. A, ba, da, da. Ha, wa.
God, most high Christ. All right, one more time.
A, ba, da. Da, ha, wa.
Perfect. So yeah, there you go. You got the first 6. All right, and remember there's in the English there's 24 letters. In the Lashawan Qadash there's only 22, so 2 less to work with. All right, a, ba, ga, da, ha, wa. All right, and what you don't have to worry about necessarily, because when you have a blue letter Bible, it'll tell you how to pronounce the Assyrian, but we're not really big on it. Like you don't have to know how to pronounce it, because if you even look at the chart, all right, it doesn't even give you the pronunciation for the Assyrian, because it's not that it's not important, but as long as you know the character and the character for the ancient, you'll know what sound it actually is supposed to make. Like for example, the alap or the a is aleph in Assyrian, aleph, or and bet, like bet in Assyrian. Like the samak, like it's very, very different. Something we don't really need to understand right at this moment. All right. So remember, give me those 6 again.
Okay. A, ba, da. Ga. Select it. A, ba, da.
La.
Oh, select.
You got to remember the ga and then the da. You got to remember ga and then the da.
Okay, yeah.
No sweat. Go ahead.
A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa.
Perfect.
A, ba, ga, ga. A, ba, da.
La.
Oh.
A. Ba.
Ga, da,
Ga.
ha.
Da. Ha. Wa. All right. Take a break. All right. Gather your thoughts. Officer Zabaji, you want to go one more time?
Salakia.
Okay.
Abaga da ha waza ka ta ya ka la ma na sa I pa taza Kwarashatha.
All right, Craig, give the officer a hand. All right, you got it down pat. All right, so yeah, there you go. Trooper, you're on.
Oh,
Give me the first 6 perfectly. Don't mess up the ga and the da. Don't mess it up. I need it perfectly.
okay. A, ba, da.
La.
A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa. Ka.
La. Start again. The first six. We got to get the first six down.
Okay. Abba, Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa,
Perfect.
Za.
Perfect.
Abba,
Don't even worry about the da right now. Just make sure you figure out that it's ga and then da. All right. One more time.
Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Ka.
What's the last one?
Oh, Ha.
No. First six. It is ha, but there's one more. Remember the first six.
Wa.
Fine, there we go. All right. Now after the wa is za. Ah, so a, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za. When you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Sa.
Go find Christ. You got the first seven. One more time.
Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Sa.
Go find Christ. All right. One more time.
Abba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Sa.
Za, Khan. There you go. Looks like you got the seven pretty quickly. You got za pretty quickly, all right? Next would be ka. Right? So after the seven that you got down perfectly, you would add ka. Not the K, but the C-H-A-A. Not the K-A, but the C-H-A-A. Now, they're pronounced the same, okay? Ka with the C-A-H, or it's like the C-H-A-A, and ka with the K-A is pronounced exactly the same, but it's spelled different, and the symbol looks different, okay? So,
Where are you talking? Where you comparing both? Khan.
ka, C-H-A, ka, K-A.
Oh, Khan.
All right?
Khan. So.
Ka, C-H-A-A, ka, K-A. So first would be the ka, as in kataza.
So it's the same enunciation, correct?
Same pronunciation, ka. Now the symbols are different. The C-H-A-A looks like a ladder in ancient Hebrew. Remember that. C-H-A-A is a ladder, and then the ka with the K. To me, this looks like a backwards K that is a bit more rounded and weird looking. All right. So ladder, backwards K. Ladder, backwards K.
Salakia.
Khan.
When I was doing like the studying and I was trying to the difference between the ka and the ka, it's like the ka is more like a rough sounding sound in your throat.
Khan.
That was just something that like that helped me because it's like more rough. It sounds like you're trying to clear your throat kind of.
Like you mean like ka?
Yeah, the C-H-A-A.
Oh, the C-H-A-A.
Ka.
Okay, so for that's the thing. Like in the Lashawan Qadash, we don't necessarily make that sound. For example, like just look at this is the first letter for Kataza's name, but you've never heard anybody say Kataza. All right, because it's Kataza. Ka, and then the ka as in the K-A. There may be a little bit of a difference, but I wouldn't now, of course, check with Officer Bond, see what he says, but I wouldn't add the like you're clearing your throat. I know that is definitely a fake Jew thing. You know what I'm saying? Like the cha, we don't really have that in our language. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, we don't have any, of course, voice recording technology is something of this age. We wouldn't really have an example of how King David would say it. We don't have a voice
Right.
from 4,000 years ago. But we do know that the fake Jews have bastardized the language. And you know how they get the cha is by the vowel pointing out. And the vowel points we don't have Lashawan, Qadash. In Lashawan, Qadash, there's no vowel points. You only have selective, which of course you know. Ask Officer Bond C, but I'm like 80% sure it's not like, you know, it's not, there's no like that, like khatazai. It's just ka. But double check. All right, maybe I could.
Right.
All right, so Trooper, you're right. So remember, give me the first 7 again.
Like the first what, sir?
The first 7. So ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za.
Come, sir. Ba, da, ha,
La
like ba, ga, da, ha, za, ka.
La you missed the wa.
Oh, so like it.
Remember, get it down. All right, do this at home. Do this when you wake up. Do it before you go to bed. All right, just say it over and over in your head. Just test yourself. Ba ga da ha wa za. Ba ga da ha wa za. Go ahead.
Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka.
Perfect. Zaka, you got it. There you go. You got the first 8. You got the 8 down. All right. We're gonna go. I'm gonna need you to memorize up to ya, and then we're probably gonna end the class there. All right. Remember that ba ga da ha wa za ka. All right. You got that one. In the meantime, Officer Zabaja, if you would like to give it one more shot.
You got cash, and I'm going to. Con. You understand? So, okay, one moment. Slocky, one moment. My phone is going off. Doing some weird stuff. Ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, tza, kwa, ka, Salakia, ka, ra, sha, tha.
Most High in Christ. All right, perfect. You got that down pretty well. All right. Trooper Urad, you got to give me up to ya. All right. So now ba ga da ha wa za ka. You already gave me those perfectly without looking. Now you got to add the ta at the end. That's easy to remember. Ta. All right. When you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Ba, ga, da, wa,
La. Remember, ba, ga, da, ha, wa. How you doing?
Okay. Ba, da.
You got it.
Wa.
La. You missed the ha.
Oh, the ha.
Ba, ga, da, ha.
Come. So, ba, ga, da.
Say that again from the top. Abagada.
Abagada. Da.
Yep.
Ha.
Yep.
Wa.
Yep.
Za.
Yep.
Kata.
Yeah, there you go.
Kata. Y. Y.
There's no Y.
Oh, Salaki. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So now I need you to get it. At least if you can get it 2 more times perfectly in a row, then we're good. If you mess up, we gotta retry it till you get it 3 times. So ba ga da ha wa za ka ta ya. It looks like from what I'm seeing, you got the za ka and ta. You got that pretty quickly. Where you're getting messed up is this the ga and the da. I think that's just remember abagada, abagada, abagada. I wouldn't really name somebody that, but abagada. All right. Abagada. All right, when you're ready, Trooper.
Come on, sir. Abba. Ga. Da.
Yep.
Ha.
Yep. Yep.
Zaka.
Yep.
Zakata. Ta.
Ta. Yep. And what's the last one? You got it. You got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. All right. So one more time, Trooper. Remember, ba ga. All right. Ba ga da ha. You got everything up perfect. You just gotta work on the ga and the da and maybe the ha, but everything else you got. Ba ga da ha wa za ka ta and then ya. Give me it one more time. And you're good to go.
Abba ga. Slake. Abba ga.
Yep.
Da. Ha.
Yep.
Wa. Za. Ka. Zaka. Taya. Taya.
Ta, yeah, perfect. Most High in Christ. All right. All right. You got it. There you go. You got the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got the first 10. Just 12 left. All right. And then you got the whole Lashawan Qadash. Abagada ha wa za ka ta ya ka la ma na sa I.S.U.P.K. You got 10 of them, so that's Tawab, all right? Yeah, go ahead.
How do you pronounce the one beside the pa and the sa, the one in the center between?
This one?
The circle, the I. Just I?
Yep, just I.
Okay.
All right. I. The way you would pronounce the character is ayan. Ayan. All right, but because, for example, with the connectors, which is a separate class, that's a little bit more advanced. We'll get into that in the future. But you would just pronounce it I. For example, let me do it quick. Could you wet this for me quick? I'm gonna wipe down the board for water. All right. For example, here's Yahweh's name. Can you see that, Trooper?
All
right, so here you got the Ya, Ha, Wa, Sha, I. Now, connectors are these. Ya, Ha, Wa, Shai. So I'm going to do it quick for you, but that's definitely a whole class. Ya is on its own. When you have to know how to pronounce it in order to put the connectors. So Ya is on its own. Y-A. So the connector would be pointing at the Ya. Ha, H-A, is also on its own. So the connector would be pointing at the Ha. Wa is also on its own WA. So the connector would be pointing at the Wa. Now, do we say Sha'ai or do we say Shai for Yahweh Shai?
Salaki, sir. Amen.
You can't.
God, sir. We pronounce like I, shy.
Shai, right? We don't say Sha'ai, we say Shai. If it was Sha'ai, watch the board quick. If it was Sha'ai, it would look like this. Two connectors pointing at the individual character. That's Yahweh Shai. But because it's Yahweh Shai, you would drop the A in Sha, and you would just turn into I. So Yahweh Shai.
Salaki, sir. What are those connectors for? Is that something that we need to write down?
Absolutely. We're gonna break that down in a different class. Definitely, we have to understand the alphabet first. The connectors is a bit more advanced, but not only does the connectors tell you how to pronounce it, but when you add connectors in certain ways, the meaning of the word changes. So that's definitely, I myself have to sharpen up on that before I start teaching it. Okay, so but we're gonna get it done. But for now, the simple way to understand it, the connectors show you how to pronounce the word. If the Sha and the I had these, if it looked just like these three, it would be Yahweh Shai. But because it's Yahweh Shai and not Shai, you connect the Sha and the I. So that makes Shai, not Shai, Shai. All right? Does that make sense?
God, sir.
All right. So back to the original question, you would pronounce this with I. I. That's how you would pronounce it in a word. I.
Okay.
All right. And then to say that character is ayan, which ayan means eye, like your physical eye to see with. Okay. Does that make sense?
God, sir.
All right. Most High in Christ. So that's pretty much it for today. All right. We're gonna get the Hebrew down packed. I'm gonna anybody like for Trooper Shah Yohan's sake, I'm gonna make sure he watches it so that way we're not too caught up. Like or it's not, that way he is caught up. So like for example, I don't want to have to. You got the first 10 characters down. Next week I don't want to have to. You're gonna have it all completely done by then, and then he's gonna be stuck on the first 7 or the first 10. So if you're not actually in the physical classroom like right now, I'm gonna have them watch it at home so that we're all caught up, and that way we can move along and progress as a group together. Because I want I.S.U.P.K. Canada to be greeting the generals in Lashawan, Qadash when they come here. All right, I want us to be speaking the pure tongue. When the generals come, we say Shalom Alawak, Shalom Alawan. The proper way to say it. Then they're gonna be impressed. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be, striving for this perfection. We're gonna have the tongue down, the holy tongue. We're gonna have the scriptures down. All right. So that was it. Any other questions before we end the class?
I had a question, sir. It was regarding scripture, though.
Okay, go ahead. If I can't answer it, just ask Officer Abban.
He asked me to bring it up to class.
He asked you to bring it up now?
Yeah, he said ask in class.
Oh, okay, go ahead. What is it?
Not now, but earlier on. So I figure I asked now. But
if I can't, then he will. But go ahead.
It's regarding, my question was on in the book of Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 22 and verse 13.
Yeah.
Typically, like I have an understanding, but I just want to know what's the official, spiritual UPK, what I mean, breakdown of the prophets.
All right, go ahead, read it.
So it says, then said the king to the servants, bind him. It says, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into utter darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Go on.
So my specific question was on. I guess it will be on verse 12. 1 second. So the parable.
Mhm.
So the parable here is it's like he's saying he wasn't wearing cast him out down hither. I'll just read it, sir. Verse 12. It said, and he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the king, verse 13 says, then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into the outer darkness.
God. So what's your specific question?
What's the parable of him not having the wedding garment?
All right, I'll just quickly give you a general breakdown. So when you start at the top, all right, it says, and Jesus answered and spake unto them again by parables and said, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. Now, his son, he's referring to Judah, because Judah is still dwelling in the land. Judah, as in Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Okay, they're still dwelling in the land. They weren't cast away. All right, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. Meaning Judah, like for example, Jeremiah 17:1 says Judah's sin is scribed with an iron pen. Like they were a very treacherous and rebellious sister. The Lord compares them with. All right, and he sent forth the servant saying, tell them that they're bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. The dinner is in reference to the covenant that Yahushua brought for his people. It's not a physical dinner. All right, we're not going to get carnal with it. It's the covenant. All right, all the blessings, all the good things that the covenant has to offer. That's the dinner, okay? And he said, I have prepared my dinner. Oxen and fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the marriage. The marriage is him presenting us back to the Most High as a nation again with a clean slate. All right. Verse 5, but they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. All right. The remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. So, back in the day, Judah killed the prophets that came to them, just like they killed Yahushua when he came to them. So they took light of it. They were like, this isn't important, this isn't of the Most High, forget about it. They took light of it. All right. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burnt up their city. This happened in 70 AD with Jerusalem. The temple was destroyed. The priesthood that wasn't even supposed to be running, because Christ came and brought a new priesthood. So that happened in 70 AD because they rejected the offer of Yahushua. Judah got destroyed as a nation because Judah had a league with the Romans. Verse 8. Then saith he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they were forbidden, they were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid them to the marriage. That's the I.S.U.P.K scripture. We do that today by going out onto the street. We go into the highways and the byways, and we tell everybody, anybody from the 12 tribes, get in here and be a part of this marriage, this wedding. 10. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all the many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests. Verse 11. And when the king came to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not a wedding garment. The garment represents, let me see. The garment is like, it's not talking about a physical garment, okay? If you don't have an actual physical I.S.U.P.K garment, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not in the truth. The garment is representing, for example, your fruit. Okay, for example, the works that you've presented. All right, the good things you've done. All right, and he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a garment? And he was speechless. So some people are going to come and gather themselves into the truth, but they're not going to produce. They're not gonna put on a clean, like Yahushua, it says in Revelation, and his saints, we had white pure robes. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean physically clean on the outside. It means pure as in spotless from sin. They didn't present themselves clean from sin. They didn't even have a garment on. All right, that means they weren't doing the works that was required of them. Verse 12, and he said unto him, friend, I read that. Verse 13, then said the king to the servant, bring him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The outer darkness is basically the judgment that is happening to this world. If an Israelite acts that, if he doesn't repent, he's going to get the same judgment as the heathen. That's basically what it is. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. He's going to be cast out of the the congregation or the I.S.U.P.K, the home of the truth, and he's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth because he's separated from the Most High, because the Most High is here in the I.S.U.P.K. So that's basically quickly what it means. All right.
Sir, I just need a couple of precepts for that. That's all from for 12 and 13.
You need precepts?
Sir, but we can gather them later.
But do you understand the answer I gave you? Do you understand what it means now?
Sir.
Okay, so the precepts, yeah, we'll give another time, or just ask Officer Bond, say, okay, I understand what this means. Can I just have some precepts to where I can back it up from precept upon precept? Just ask him, all right? And then Officer Zabajah, remember, don't forget, ask Officer Bond about the ka, because I'm like 80% sure we don't do the, but I could be wrong. So just double check with him and let me know. But I think it's the same. It's just ka, but just double check for me. I could be wrong.
Con.
All right. So with that being said, that was the Lashawan Qadash, the Hebrew class for I.S.U.P.K Canada. With that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Priest Officer 50 Zabadia.
So I'll give one moment. I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Started out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. Salakia will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. Ma'ashara, which means 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase of the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering, priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like, whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocations. The next up and coming holy convocation is the Feast of Dedication, or Hanukkah, which is December 9th, 2020 on sundown for 8 days. The precept for this is in the first Maccabees, chapter 4, 52, verse 52 to 61. If there a reminder, if you looking to check any events, you could check the website, which is isupk.com. Also, reminder, tomorrow is the Sabbath service that I myself, Officer 50 Zabaja, will be teaching on this same channel, No Cowards Canada, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Salakia. On Mondays, you can do an officer of 500 ADR for the history class. It is 5 to 6 on I.S.U.P.K. Quebec. And on Wednesdays, he has the law class, which is, I believe, 6 to 8 p.m. also on I.S.U.P.K. Quebec. Officer Darash will be teaching the Brotherhood class on Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on No Cowards Canada. Officer Darash will also be teaching the law class Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on No Cowards Canada as well. With that said, we're going to give a quick salute and then end the class. Salakia, one moment. Men of Israel, I Majum, which means stand. We're going to give a quick salute, a quick courtesy salute to the brothers. I Majum Shabbat, which is hands behind your back. I Majum, hands down. Barak. Yahweh Bashim Yahshai Barakatha. As a reminder, just try to, when I say Barak, just try to repeat the salute at the same time as me, because I'm not a general, and you don't have to say it after me. Yad Yamata, hands down. We're going to give a courtesy salute, Salakia, to the sisters. Men of Israel, I Majum Shabbat, hands behind your back. I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shema, men of Yad Yamata, men of Israel, class dismissed.
Most High in Christ.
Most High in Christ,
All right, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Lord in Christ, Akim.